The year was 2157. Humanity had just achieved what many once thought impossible, faster than light travel. After centuries of looking up at the stars and wondering what might be out there, mankind was finally ready to find out. The United Earth Space Force flagship Dauntless cruised through the darkness near Jupiter. Its sleek, silver hull gleamed in the distant sunlight. On the bridge, Captain Eric Summers watched the vast expanse of space through the main viewport. His weathered face showed both pride and concern. "Captain, we're picking up an unusual reading," said Lieutenant Olivia Wright from her communication station. Her fingers moved quickly across the glowing display. "It doesn't match any known Earth vessel." Summers straightened his uniform. "Show me." The main screen flickered to life. A strange ship appeared. Unlike anything built by human hands, its hull was smooth and curved, with odd protrusions that glowed with purple light. "Send standard greeting package on all frequencies," ordered Summers. The bridge fell silent. Minutes passed. Then the communications panel chimed. "Sir, we're receiving a response," said Wright. They're speaking English." A face appeared on the main screen. It was clearly not human. Gray skin stretched over a wide, flat face, with 3 pairs of eyes arranged in a triangle. The alien's mouth moved strangely as it spoke. "Unregistered vessel. This is Ambassador Vexlor of the Galactic Council. Your presence in this sector is unexpected. Identify yourselves immediately." Summers stepped forward. "I am Captain Eric Summers of the United Earth Space Force vessel Dauntless. We are explorers from Earth, the 3rd planet in this system. We come in peace." The alien's eyes blinked in an unsettling pattern. "Earth, you are not in our records as a spacefaring civilization. How have you achieved faster than light travel without Council approval?" "We developed it ourselves," Summers replied simply. "We weren't aware we needed anyone's approval." Vexler's face twitched. "Most interesting. The Council will want to know of this development. We request permission to approach your homeworld for diplomatic discussions." Summers glanced at his second-in-command, Commander Susan West. She gave a slight nod. "We would be honored to host representatives of the Galactic Council," Summers said. "I will inform Earth's leadership of your arrival." "Excellent," Vexlor replied. "We shall follow your vessel. Prepare your leaders for our arrival. There is much to discuss." The transmission ended. Commander West moved closer to Summers, keeping her voice low. "I don't like this, sir. They seem surprised by our existence." Summers nodded, and not pleasantly surprised. "Lieutenant Wright, what else can you tell me about their ship?" Wright studied her readings. "It's about twice our size, sir. Energy readings suggest advanced technology, but nothing overwhelming." "Wait." She paused, adjusting her instruments. "Sir, they're transmitting something. Not to us. It's directed outward, toward the edge of the solar system." "Can you decode it?" asked Summers. "No, sir. It's encrypted, but it's a powerful signal, meant to travel far." Summers frowned. "They're reporting back to someone. Keep monitoring those transmissions, Lieutenant. I want to know what they're saying about us." The captain turned to his navigation officer. "Set course for Earth. Let's escort our new friends home." As the Dauntless turned toward Earth, Summers watched the alien vessel follow. He couldn't shake the feeling that this first contact was not the joyous occasion humanity had always imagined. The way Vexlor had spoken of approval and registration suggested a galaxy very different from what Earth had hoped to join. Behind him, Lieutenant Wright continued to monitor the strange transmissions. In the alien language he couldn't understand, Vexlor was already describing Earth to his superiors, not as a new ally, but as an unregistered asset ripe for integration into the Council's holdings. Humanity's first step into the galactic community had begun, but it would not go as anyone on Earth expected. 1 week after first contact, the United Nations headquarters in New York City buzzed with nervous energy. Security was tight as world leaders gathered in the main assembly hall. Secretary General Benjamin Cole stood at the podium, his gray hair neatly combed and his blue suit perfectly pressed. The doors opened. Ambassador Vexlor entered with 4 other aliens. Each looked different from the Jorek. One had blue skin and 6 limbs. Another floated above the ground on what looked like a small cloud. They moved with the confidence of beings who expected respect without having to earn it. "Welcome to Earth," said Cole with a practiced smile. "We are honored by your presence." Vexlor did not return the smile. "The honor is yours alone. I present the Galactic Council delegation. We represent over 500 species across this sector of the galaxy." The assembled human leaders murmured among themselves. Cole gestured to the seats prepared for the visitors. "Please, make yourselves comfortable." The aliens sat. Vexlor placed a small device on the table. It projected a 3-dimensional map of the galaxy. A small blue dot pulsed near one edge. "This is your position," said Vexlor. "Insignificant and far from the centers of civilization. The Galactic Council has maintained peace for over 10,000 years through proper order and structure." 10,000 years is an impressive achievement," said Cole. "We look forward to learning from your experience." "Learning is good," said the floating alien in a musical voice. "Payment is better." Cole's smile faltered. "Payment?" Vexlor nodded. "All junior species must contribute to the Council's operations. This is how stability is maintained. New species, like humans, must prove their value and commitment." The blue 6-limbed alien stepped forward. "The tribute required from Earth is reasonable. 15% of your planetary resources, shared annually. Additionally, a Council security force must be stationed on your world to ensure compliance and protection." The room erupted in shocked whispers. Cole raised his hand for silence. "That seems quite substantial," he said carefully. "What exactly would this protection be from?" "From yourselves, primarily," said Vexlor. "Young species often make dangerous mistakes. The Council prevents these errors through guidance." In the back of the room, Dr. Alicia Morgan leaned toward Captain Summers. "They're talking about controlling us, not helping us," she whispered. Summers nodded slightly. "Keep recording everything." Cole maintained his diplomatic composure. "This is a significant request. We would need time to consider the implications." Vexlor's 3 pairs of eyes blinked in sequence. "Consider quickly. You have 1 standard week to accept our terms. After that, there will be consequences." 1 week is hardly enough time to..." Cole began. 1 week, Vexlor repeated firmly. "The Council's patience has limits, especially with unregistered species who develop technology beyond their maturity level." Cole straightened his shoulders. "We will provide our answer within 1 week. Until then, we have prepared accommodations for your delegation." After the aliens left with their escorts, the human leaders gathered in a secure room below the building. "They're not here for friendship," said Cole, his diplomatic mask now gone. "They want to control Earth's resources." "We should prepare our military," said General Laura Hayes. "Just in case." "Quietly," agreed Cole. "Dr. Morgan, what do you make of their claims?" Dr. Morgan adjusted her glasses. "Their technology is advanced, but something doesn't add up. Why would such a powerful alliance need our resources? And why the rush for an answer?" "Find out," Cole ordered. "Lieutenant Foster will assist you. We need to know what we're really dealing with before we respond." As they left the meeting, Dr. Morgan caught Summers by the arm. "Eric, that transmission Lieutenant Wright detected. Can she get me access to it?" Summers nodded grimly. "I'll make sure of it. Something tells me the Council isn't being honest about its intentions." Outside, the alien ship hovered over New York, its shadow stretching across the city like a dark promise. Dr. Alicia Morgan had not slept in 36 hours. Her office at the United Nations building was filled with screens showing data from the Jorek ship. Lieutenant Daniel Foster sat across from her, his fingers moving quickly over a keyboard. "I think I found something," said Foster. He pushed his dark hair from his eyes. The transmission Lieutenant Wright detected wasn't just a message. It was a data packet with Earth's complete profile. Dr. Morgan moved to look over his shoulder. What kind of profile? Resources, population centers, military capabilities, said Foster. They'd been scanning us since they arrived. Morgan frowned. That's not standard diplomatic procedure. There's more, said Foster. He pulled up another screen. I managed to crack part of their database. The Galactic Council isn't what they claim to be. The door opened. Captain Summers entered with Lieutenant Wright. Tell me you have something, said Summers. We're running out of time. Dr. Morgan nodded. Show them, Daniel. Foster displayed a star map on the main screen. This is the Council's territory. These red dots are what they call tribute worlds. There are hundreds of them. And based on the data we've gathered, said Wright, these worlds aren't partners. They're subjects. Exactly, said Morgan. The tribute isn't voluntary. It's extraction. Those security forces they want to station here. They're occupation troops. Summers' face darkened. So this isn't about galactic peace. It's about conquest. It gets worse, said Foster. Look at this pattern. He highlighted several star systems. These worlds tried to refuse the Council's demands. Each one was attacked and forced to comply. The Council destroys any resistance to make examples. But why Earth? Asked Summers. We're just one planet. Morgan pointed to a section of data. Our location. We're at the edge of what they call disputed territory. Earth would be a valuable strategic position. And our resources, added Wright. We have a lot of water and biodiversity. That's rare, according to their database. The door opened again. Secretary General Cole entered with General Hayes. Please tell me you have good news, said Cole. Morgan shook her head. Not good, but important. The Council is lying to us. They're not peacekeepers. They're conquerors. She explained what they had discovered. Cole listened carefully, his face growing more serious with each word. Can we fight them? Asked General Hayes. Foster pulled up more data. That's the interesting part. The Council's military is stretched thin. They control too much territory. And they're fighting another group on the far side of their space. They're not as strong as they want us to believe, said Morgan. They use fear and intimidation more than actual force. And they don't expect resistance, added Wright. Their records show most species surrender immediately. Summers stood up straighter. So if we refuse, they'll be surprised, said Foster, and possibly unprepared. Cole looked at the data, then at General Hayes. What do you think, General? Hayes studied the military information. It's risky. But if this information is accurate, we might have a chance. Not just a chance, said Morgan. Look at this. She pointed to another section of data. Several of their tribute worlds are showing signs of unrest. They're watching what happens here. Cole nodded slowly. So our answer matters not just for Earth, but for others too. If we stand up to them, said Summers, we might not stand alone for long. Cole turned to Hayes. How quickly can we prepare our defenses without the Council noticing? We'll need to be clever about it, said Hayes. But we can do it. Good, said Cole. Dr. Morgan, keep digging. I want to know everything about their weaknesses before we deliver our answer. As they left the room, Foster added one last piece of information. Sir, there's one more thing. The Council's ships have a fundamental flaw in their shield design. If we can exploit it. Cole nodded. Find a way. We'll need every advantage we can get. Outside, the alien ship continued to hover over New York, unaware that its secrets were being uncovered one by one. The clock was ticking. 4 days had passed since the Council's ultimatum. Inside a secure underground facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Earth's leaders gathered around a large table. Secretary General Cole stood at the head of the table. Maps and data projections covered the walls. Military officers and government officials from every major nation sat in tense silence. We've heard the reports, said Cole. Now we must decide. Do we submit to the Council's demands, or do we resist? Admiral Catherine Reeves, commander of the United Earth Space Force, stepped forward. Her uniform was crisp, her gray hair pulled back tightly. "I believe we can fight," she said, "and we might even win." She pressed a button on the table. A holographic display showed Earth's military assets. "We have 27 ships with faster-than-light capability," she continued. "Not as many as the Council, but they don't know about all of them. 6 of our vessels were on deep space missions when the Zhoruk arrived. I've recalled them secretly." General Hayes nodded. "On the ground, we've been moving troops and equipment at night. We're setting up defense grids around major cities, disguised as maintenance work." "What about civilians?" asked the representative from India. "We cannot hide this from the public forever." Cole nodded. "We won't have to. But panic now would alert the Council. We need 3 more days of normal appearance." Dr. Morgan displayed her latest findings. "The Council's ship has been scanning our planet, but they're focused on military installations. They're not watching our scientific facilities." "Which is why," said Admiral Reeves, "Dr. Morgan's team has been able to modify our defensive systems." "Show them, Doctor." Dr. Morgan pulled up schematics of Earth's orbital defense platforms. "We've discovered that the Council's shields operate on a frequency we can disrupt. We're adapting our weapons accordingly." "It's still a risk," said the Chinese president. "Their technology is advanced." "Yes," agreed Admiral Reeves, "but they're overconfident. They don't expect resistance from a primitive species like us." Cole looked around the table. "The vote stands at 15 for resistance, 3 undecided, no votes for surrender." He turned to Lieutenant Foster. "What about your project?" Foster stood up nervously. "We've managed to hack into their communication network. Not completely, but enough to monitor their transmissions. They're not expecting reinforcements for at least 2 weeks. They thought this would be easy." "It won't be," said Admiral Reeves with a grim smile. "There's something else," added Captain Summers. "Lieutenant Wright intercepted a message to another ship at the edge of our solar system. They're already planning how to divide Earth's resources. They never expected us to say anything but yes." Cole nodded slowly. "Then we are decided. We will not submit." He turned to Admiral Reeves. "Continue preparations, but maintain absolute secrecy. The Council must not suspect until it's too late." "And our official response?" asked General Hayes. "I'll deliver it personally," said Captain Summers, "at the last possible moment." As the meeting ended, Cole pulled Dr. Morgan aside. "Your team has done remarkable work. But I need to know, what are our real chances?" Morgan hesitated. "Honestly, if we surprise them, maybe 60%. If they see us coming, much lower. But surrender means certain slavery, not just for us, but for future generations." Cole nodded. "Then we fight. Not just for Earth, but for every world they've subjugated." Outside the mountain base, life continued normally. People went to work. Children attended school, all unaware of the decision that had just been made. In orbit, the Council's ship waited confidently for Earth's surrender. But below the surface, humanity prepared for war. Weapons were readied. Ships moved into position, and Captain Summers rehearsed the simple, one-word answer he would soon deliver to the galaxy's most powerful empire. The week had passed. At the United Nations headquarters, the main assembly hall was packed with world leaders and media. The air felt heavy with tension. Armed security guards stood at every entrance. At the center of the room, a large circular table had been set up. Secretary General Cole sat straight-backed in his chair. Captain Summers stood behind him, his face calm but alert. Dr. Morgan and Lieutenant Foster sat nearby with tablets, monitoring data streams from hidden sensors. The doors opened. Ambassador Vexlor entered with his delegation. They moved with the same arrogance as before, clearly expecting Earth's surrender. "The Council welcomes your prompt response," said Vexlor as he sat down. "We are prepared to begin the integration process immediately." Cole smiled politely. "Before we proceed, Ambassador, we have a few questions." Vexilor's eyes blinked in their strange pattern. Questions are unnecessary. Simply sign the agreement. Humor us, said Cole. It's a human custom to understand terms fully before agreeing to them. Vexilor sighed. Very well. What do you wish to know? Cole glanced at Dr. Morgan, who nodded slightly. We'd like to know more about other tribute worlds. How have they benefited from council protection? They exist in peace, said Vexilor flatly. Is that not benefit enough? And the security forces you wish to station here, continued Cole. How large would they be? Sufficient for your needs, said the blue six-limbed alien. No more than 1 million troops to start. A murmur went through the human representatives. Cole kept his expression neutral. I see. And the tribute resources, how would they be collected? Council ships would arrive monthly, said Vexilor. Your people would load the required materials. Failure to meet quotas would result in penalties. Like on Proxima Centauri 4, asked Dr. Morgan suddenly, where the penalty was 5,000 civilians taken as labor resources. The alien stiffened. Vexilor's eyes narrowed. How do you know of Proxima Centauri 4? Or Sirius 6, added Lieutenant Foster, where your forces destroyed 3 cities to make a point about prompt payment. Vexilor stood abruptly. These matters are not your concern. You will sign the agreement now, or face consequences. Cole nodded to Captain Summers. Captain, please deliver Earth's official response to the Galactic Council. Summers stepped forward. He stood tall, his eyes locked with Vexilor's. The room fell completely silent. After careful consideration of the Council's demands, said Summers clearly, the people of Earth have decided our answer is no. For a moment, nobody moved. Vexilor seemed unable to process what he had heard. No, he repeated. You refuse. That's correct, said Summers. We refuse your demands. Earth will not pay tribute. Earth will not host your troops. Earth will not submit to the Council's authority. Vexilor's face darkened. You have no idea what you're doing. The Council controls 500 worlds. Your primitive weapons are no match for our technology. Cole stood calmly. Actually, Ambassador, we know exactly what we're doing. We know the Council's ships have shield vulnerabilities. We know your forces are stretched thin fighting the Nelvari Alliance on your eastern border. How could you possibly? Vexilor stopped, realization dawning. You accessed our database. We did more than that, said Dr. Morgan. We've been broadcasting this entire conversation to every tribute world in your empire. They're all hearing the truth about the Council right now. Vexilor's hand moved toward a device on his belt. This is an act of war. Your world will be destroyed for this insolence. I wouldn't try that, said General Hayes, stepping forward with armed soldiers. Our weapons have been aimed at your ship since you arrived. Outside, a rumbling sound filled the air. The Council representatives looked up in alarm as the ceiling display showed dozens of Earth ships rising from hidden bases. This meeting is over, said Cole firmly. You have 1 hour to leave Earth's orbit. After that, we will consider your presence an act of aggression. Vexilor's face contorted with rage. You will regret this, humans. The Council does not tolerate defiance. And humanity, said Summers calmly, does not tolerate threats. As the aliens were escorted out, Cole turned to his team. And now it begins. Alert all defense stations. The Council won't take no for an answer without a fight. News of Earth's defiance spread through the galaxy like wildfire. On hundreds of worlds, beings of all shapes and sizes gathered around communication devices, listening to the broadcast of the meeting. Earth's simple no echoed across star systems. On Proxima Centauri 4, tall green beings with 4 arms watched in stunned silence. Their leader, Zeltrak, turned to his advisors. A primitive world dares to say no, he whispered. Could we do the same? Similar conversations happened on dozens of tribute worlds. Hope, long forgotten, began to stir again. Meanwhile, at the Council's central command, rage filled the chambers. High Commander Krolvex, a battle-scarred Jorak with a reputation for cruelty, stood before the council leaders. "This cannot stand," he growled. "If one world defies us, others will follow. Earth must be crushed quickly." "We agree," said the head counselor. "Take the Fifth Fleet. Make an example of these humans." Krolvex bowed. "It will be done. Their defiance will end in fire." Across the galaxy, a different reaction came from the Nelvari, a species that had been fighting the Council for decades. Their sleek ships patrolled the borders of their territory. Admiral Leeson, her silver skin reflecting the stars, studied the report of Earth's stand. "These humans," she said thoughtfully, "they have courage. Perhaps they could be allies." Her second-in-command looked doubtful. "They are far from our space, Admiral, and very new to the stars." "Sometimes the newest voices speak the most truth," said Leah Senator. "Prepare a diplomatic ship. I want to meet these humans." Back on Earth, Captain Summers stood on the bridge of the Dauntless. Earth's fleet had taken up defensive positions around the planet. The Council's diplomatic vessel had departed, but sensors showed troubling signs. "Movement at the edge of the system," reported Lieutenant Wright. "Multiple ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel." Summers nodded grimly. The Council's response: "Right on schedule." Admiral Reeves' face appeared on the main screen. "All ships, battle stations. This is not a drill. The Council fleet will be in range in 6 hours." On Earth below, people now knew the truth. Screens everywhere showed the Council's demands and Earth's response. Some were afraid, but most felt a surge of pride. Humanity would not bow to bullies, even ones from the stars. In the command center beneath the Rocky Mountains, Secretary General Cole watched the tactical displays with Dr. Morgan and Lieutenant Foster. "Their fleet is larger than we expected," said Foster, his face pale. 15 capital ships, dozens of smaller vessels. "But we have the element of surprise," said Dr. Morgan. "They still think we're primitives with basic weapons." Cole nodded. "Let's hope that advantage is enough." A communication officer rushed in. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission. Not from the Council fleet. It's coming from the opposite direction, from unexplored space." "Put it through," ordered Cole. The screen flickered. A graceful figure with silver skin appeared. "People of Earth, I am Admiral Leeson of the Nelvari Alliance. We have heard of your stand against the Council's tyranny. You are not alone in your fight." Cole's eyes widened. "Admiral, your timing is excellent. The Council's fleet approaches as we speak." "We know," said Leah Senator. "Our fastest ships are already en route to your system. But they will not arrive before the Council's attack begins. You must hold out for 26 of your hours. Can you do this?" Cole looked at his advisors. Dr. Morgan nodded slightly. "We will hold," said Cole firmly, "for as long as necessary." "Good," said Leah Senator. "The Council has ruled through fear for too long. Your courage has inspired many worlds. The word no is now being spoken on planets across the galaxy." As the transmission ended, Lieutenant Foster looked at the tactical display. 26 hours against the Fifth Fleet. Can we really hold that long? Captain Summers, who had just arrived from the Dauntless, stepped forward. "We have to. Not just for Earth now, but for every world watching us. Today, humanity fights for the freedom of the galaxy." The Council fleet arrived at the edge of Earth's solar system exactly as predicted. 15 massive warships led by Commander Krolvex's flagship, Inevitable Conquest, dropped out of faster-than-light travel near Jupiter. Dozens of smaller attack ships surrounded them. On the bridge of the Dauntless, Captain Summers watched the enemy fleet on the main screen. His face showed no fear, only focus. "They're forming attack positions," reported Lieutenant Wright. "Standard Council invasion pattern." Summers nodded. "Just as we expected. All ships maintain position. Remember the plan." The Dauntless and 20 other Earth vessels held formation around the planet. They looked small compared to the Council warships now approaching. Commander Krolvex stood on his bridge, looking at the human fleet with contempt. Pathetic, he said to his officers. Their ships are like toys. Sir, said his second-in-command, should we not be cautious? These humans surprised Ambassador Vexilor. Kralvex laughed. Vexilor is a diplomat, not a warrior. I have crushed 30 rebellions. This will be no different. He turned to his weapons officer. Target their largest ship. Let's show them the price of defiance. The inevitable conquest fired its main cannon. A beam of energy shot toward the Dauntless. But just before impact, something unexpected happened. The beam scattered across an invisible barrier. What? Shouted Kralvex. How did they block our weapon? On the Dauntless, Dr. Morgan's voice came through the comm system from Earth Command. Shield modification working perfectly, Captain. Their energy signature is exactly as our data showed. Good work, Doctor, said Summers. All ships, hold positions until they're fully committed. The Council fleet pressed forward, firing more weapons. Each blast was deflected by Earth's modified shields. Kralvex grew more angry with each failed attack. Impossible, he shouted. These primitives cannot have such technology. All ships, advance and surround them. We'll overwhelm their defenses. The Council fleet spread out, moving deeper into Earth's defensive zone. Just as they reached the optimal position, Summers gave the order they had been waiting for. Now, he commanded, all ships, execute Pattern Omega. Defense platforms, activate. Suddenly, dozens of previously hidden defense platforms around Earth came online. At the same time, Earth's ships broke formation in a complex pattern that confused the Council's targeting systems. Focus fire on their flagship, ordered Summers. Every Earth ship and platform fired at once, all aiming at the inevitable conquest. Their weapons, modified based on Dr. Morgan's research, bypassed the Council ship's shields. Explosions rocked the massive vessel. On Kralvex's bridge, alarms blared. Shields failing, reported an officer in panic. How are they doing this? Our systems show their weapons are primitive. We've been deceived, growled Kralvex. Fall back and regroup. But as the Council fleet tried to retreat, another surprise awaited them. 6 more Earth ships appeared from behind Jupiter's moons, cutting off their escape. The ships we kept hidden, explained Summers to his crew. Now they're caught between our forces. The battle raged for hours. Earth's smaller ships darted between the massive Council vessels, hitting weak points identified by Dr. Morgan's team. 3 Council warships had already been disabled. Then something unexpected happened. On 5 of the Council's smaller ships, crew members suddenly turned against their commanders. Lieutenant Foster's voice came through the comm. Captain, those ships are crewed by beings from tribute worlds. Our broadcast reached them. They're refusing to fight. The tide of battle had turned. Kralvex watched in horror as his perfect attack fell apart. His flagship was heavily damaged, and several of his ships had either surrendered or were fighting among themselves. This cannot be happening, he muttered. No primitive world has ever. A massive explosion rocked his ship. Commander, shouted an officer. The humans have targeted our main power core. We must abandon ship. As escape pods launched from the inevitable conquest, Captain Summers received an urgent message from Earth Command. Captain, said Admiral Reeves, long-range sensors detect new ships entering the system, not Council design. Summers smiled. Right on time. The Nelvari have arrived. 3 sleek silver ships led the Nelvari fleet into Earth's solar system. Their design was unlike anything humans had seen before. Smooth curves that seemed to flow like water frozen in space. Behind them came 20 more vessels of various sizes, all bearing the same elegant style. The remains of the Council fleet scattered in disarray. With Kralvex's flagship destroyed and 5 ships in open rebellion, the remaining Council vessels began a hasty retreat. They're running, said Lieutenant Wright, unable to keep the surprise from her voice. Let them go, said Captain Summers. Let them tell the story of what happened here. The main screen switched to show Admiral Leeson of the Nelvari. Her silver skin seemed to glow, and her large purple eyes held a look of respect. "Captain Summers, people of Earth," she said, "you have accomplished something remarkable. No world has ever stood against the Council's fleet and prevailed." "We had good intelligence," replied Summers modestly, "and your arrival certainly helped convince them to retreat." Leeson smiled. "Perhaps, but the battle was already won by your courage and strategy. The Nelvari would be honored to meet with your leaders." 1 week later, the United Nations headquarters hosted representatives from 27 formerly subjugated worlds, along with the Nelvari delegation. The large assembly hall buzzed with dozens of languages, all being carefully translated. Secretary General Cole addressed the gathered aliens. "Friends, what began as Earth's simple refusal has become something much larger. The Council's grip is weakening across the galaxy. Already 14 more worlds have declared their independence." Zeltrak of Proxima Centauri 4 stood up. His 4 arms moved in a gesture of respect. "Because Earth showed us it was possible. Your one word, no, has become a cry for freedom everywhere." Admiral Leeson stepped forward. "The Nelvari have fought the Council for generations, but always alone. Now we have a chance to create something new. Not an empire built on fear, but an alliance built on respect." "A galactic federation," suggested Dr. Morgan, who had been working closely with the alien scientists, "where each world has an equal voice." "Yes," agreed Cole, "a true federation, not the false peace the Council offered." Captain Summers, now wearing the new insignia of Earth's ambassador, looked around the room at the diverse beings. Some had tentacles, others wings. Some breathed different gases, others floated rather than walked. Yet all share a common desire for freedom. "The Council thought our differences made us weak," he said, "but our diversity is our strength. Each of our species brings unique perspectives and abilities." In orbit above Earth, engineers from 6 different worlds worked together to adapt Nelvari shield technology to Earth vessels. Lieutenant Foster helped coordinate their efforts, amazed at how quickly they were learning from each other. Back in the assembly hall, the representatives voted unanimously to form the new Galactic Federation. As the meeting ended, a small blue being approached Secretary General Cole. "On my world," it said through a translator, "we have watched the stars for 10,000 years, always afraid of what might come from them. Now, because of Earth, we look up with hope." That evening, Captain Summers stood on the observation deck of the UN building with Admiral Reeves, watching the sunset. "Did you ever imagine," asked Reeves, "that one word could change the galaxy?" Summers shook his head. "Not really. But that's the thing about words. They have power when backed by conviction." Above them, the first stars began to appear in the darkening sky. Among them were the lights of ships from a dozen worlds, no longer enemies or strangers, but allies. "The Council will try again," said Reeves. "They've ruled too long to give up easily." "Let them come," replied Summers calmly. "Next time, they won't face Earth alone. They'll face a united galaxy." Across that galaxy, on hundreds of worlds, beings of all kinds looked up at their night skies and whispered a word that had become a symbol of hope and courage. A simple, powerful word that humanity had taught them.